Hi and welcome to Candid Talk with Adelle. I told you that we are into the family and accountability episodes, and this is the right time for that discussion. Today, I'm hosting three handsome gentlemen, all married and all fathers of two. What a coincidence. Anyway, welcome to Candid Talk. Let's get started. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. And the introduction I gave you are all fathers of two. Mr. Ogora David, father of two. Mr. Brian Muhumuza, father of two as well. And Mr. Donald Nyanza, father of two as well. Wow, what a coincidence. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
Thank you. We are into the family and accountability series, and we're trying to see how best our families run. We've been married for a while, most of us, and I would like to be able to understand how do you balance your work at the same time give your family the time they need. Mr. Ogora.
Thank you, Adele. How to balance family and work. I think as we go to work, you get to a point where you realize that you need to get to that point where you realize that family is actually more important than work. So if you have a work contract that says 8 to 5, commit yourself to work between 8 to 5, work hard, get those results, and then try to maximize whatever time you have after that with your family. That's the simple way I do it.
Interesting. Mr. Brian Muhumuza, in the banking sector, you get very busy. You have to balance out different things. But then at the same time, your family should not see you as an absentee father. How do you manage that element? Because we're trying, our viewers would like to understand, how then do you balance the work and at the same time the family time?
Well, I think for starters, we have to understand that both are important. I mean, work is what brings, so many things to the table in the family. It affords you a home, it affords you meals and so many other things. But again, it's not all about work. It's about having the right people around you, which is family. And you have to realize how very, very important they are to you. So it's about, like like David said, if it's time for work, it's time for work. After work, you have to make time for family so that, all things are afforded their time and they balance each other out.
Awesome. Mr. Donald, it's also very important to remember that you cannot support a home without having
work.
That work
Exactly.
bring the food on the table.
Yes.
In that case, how do you make sure that you're accountable to your family, but without forgetting the importance of work?
Okay, so you can't pick and choose between the two. The issue is you have to, you can't even find one formula that works to strike a balance. But it's in the quality of the time you spend with family and the quality of the time you spend with work. If you give your work 8 hours a day and you actually achieve the results, then when you come home, you will not need to have to strike a balance between work and home. It's just that when you're home, are you home or are you just physically there? So it's really something personally I have to work on when I'm home. But I also believe the quality of the time you spend with your family is more important than the quantity. If you don't create memories but you are in the house, then it doesn't make sense.
This whole thing that most fathers are absentee fathers, is it actually true? Is it actually true?
I guess
or it's just a myth?
It's not true. There could be those bad few apples that are spoiling the basket, but it's not very true. Broadly, it's not very true.
I've seen my son too attached to his dad. It could mean that even when the small time is home, it's actually worth it.
Yes.
That the boy, when he sees the dad, just wants to run off.
Actually, my wife usually sort of envies my relationship with her firstborn, because she said ever since he was born, he has always been a daddy's boy.
Yeah. And could that be because of the time spent?
I would like to say there's no quality time without quantity time. So you first have to create the quantity time. Then when you're home, make a deliberate effort to actually engage, because I think the issue of absentee fathers comes, a man is home, he's on the TV watching a sports show, he's on his phone. So when you actually create time to be home, are you actually engaging with your family members? Are you talking to your wife? Are you talking to your kids? So,
or you're on the phone.
Or you're on the phone.
Now we have fathers who are always on the phone.
Exactly, because I believe we have not got to a point where people know that they have to be home. But when you're home, what are you doing? So that's also very important.
And now the challenge is this working from home concept which has come in.
Yeah.
People are home, it's family time, but they are locked up in a room, doing a report or whatever it is.
Every room has
I'm going to be in a Zoom meeting,
Yeah.
silence in the house for 2 hours.
Get the kids somewhere, take them out, that kind of thing.
Thinking about kids, how do you make sure that the children, as fathers, don't go over the line in terms of discipline? You're either disciplining them hard, but also keeping the love element to it. How do you do it, Donald?
Well,
How do you balance that
I was
out?
raised disciplinarian. I don't believe in that.
Old school military.
I don't believe a child should even say no to a parent. There are standards you cannot go past, and if you go past them, if you don't teach the child this early, the world will teach them. So, and the world will be more cruel than you, the parent. Okay? Yeah. So if you don't teach a child that picking something from someone is not good, then when they steal and they get burnt with tires, that's even way worse.
We're now in a world where children have
Rights and all
rights.
that. No.
How do you balance that out? Seriously, it's happening in most homes. When a child is beaten or anything, different people come in, and how do you then keep that together?
I think most importantly, it should be the fear of the beating coming that should keep the child in check.
Yeah.
Because a kid will always adjust to that beating. They'll come to a point where they say, I'm going to get beaten and I'll move on. So it should be the fear of the beating that should. But, sorry, Don. Most importantly, I think most of our kids are below 5. We need to try and make them understand why we are telling them no. Because I've realized if you tell a kid no, they'll keep asking themselves, why is it a no? So you don't just tell a kid no. They'll want to understand, why am I not allowed to do that? So that's most important.
Communication
in
the discipline.
Yes, you have to make them understand why it is that you're telling them they can't do ABC. But if you just tell them you can't watch that, they'll keep asking themselves, why am I not allowed to watch that? And they'll want to watch it. So you make them understand that you don't do this because of ABCD, and if you do that, this will happen.
And
Once you make them understand that, you will have a smooth sailing.
And this is where, especially us as fathers, where I think we come in, because children, of course, by virtue of spending so much time with their mothers, the mothers have some difficulty in trying to discipline, because the kids around them, they can play with them, and then because the fathers, we have bigger voices and we are manly, and so this is where you come in to make sure the kid is talked to, is put down, is disciplined well, because they won't give you the same audience they give to their mothers. But again, it's about balancing it. How do you make sure you're not overly punishing, but you're trying to impart a message in this child that this is wrong, this is correct, and this is the line. This is what you're supposed to do.
Because we need to be able to make sure that we raise children who are well disciplined, who will be accountable, because if you don't do it, the world itself will do it for you, and that will be worse, because then it will come in a very, very hard lesson.
The world works like this. For every bad thing you do, you're supposed to get you're not supposed to get good from doing bad. That's not how the world works. So if you have a child who is doing something that you think is beyond the line, you don't have, you can beat them if it's your choice of punishment, but they have to have a negative reaction to their actions, so that they know that this is not good. Because if it's, don't deny him food, but don't give him his favorite food.
Yeah.
You see, you just have to strike a balance.
Yeah. I'm picking tips from here. My son doesn't listen to me as much as he
Good
listens to the
cop,
father.
bad cop.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I say, Iggy. He will not turn. The father will say, come here, and he will.
Go, yeah.
So that's where I just don't get it. We spend so much time with these kids, but they love the fathers more. And to look at it, the two gentlemen, Brian and Donald, are fathers of boys,
Yes.
but you have a girl. How do you toe that line of having a girl grounded differently from...
Fathers and their daughters have a relationship that is unexplainable. My daughter loves me very, very much. I don't think she loves her mother any less, but she really loves me. And I think I think it's the way we talk. When you mean business, there's a way you will talk to a child, and they'll realize that I think this is business. Let us do this. And I don't think your son actually doesn't love you. I think he loves you just as much as he loves your husband. But I think you could be more of a friend to him than he is to him. So there's some kind of familiarity between you and him, that it's mommy. Mommy is okay, but daddy will say Iggy, and you'll be like, if I don't move, a slipper might come flying.
There's something about boy children and their mothers. They manipulate the. My second son is the master of that. Like and he does it to the mother. Like he will do something bad, he will be talked to, and he will laugh, and then the mother will be like, oh, cute, what? Then, it will go away. But then when it comes to the dad, you'll be like, Mr. Tum Tum, don't do this. And he'll not. So the manipulation comes to mothers because they are softer, because maybe there is the whole labor attachment and all that.
There's so much attachment.
So, yes, they are running around the home.
Mama said no. But even the father,
You just walk out of a bedroom, and whatever disorder was there goes into order without you even saying something.
Wow.
And yet the disorder was there when the mother was there. So,
as we conclude this episode, just one tip from each one of you. One, how to balance that work properly, and also how not to discipline a child, but not to go overboard, but still get the results. Mr. Ogora.
As I said, work. When you're at work, do what is expected of you, but also remember that you have a family at home, and try to be there with them as much as you can, because what you do at work is actually to take care of the family at home. So it should be your motivation to work, actually, your family. So that's how you strike that work-life balance. Disciplining children, you have to start early, so that as they grow, they know what is good and what is bad, and what comes when you do bad. And
consequences.
Yes, somehow you just have to pray to God for a bit of patience also, because you do not want to smack a kid and the kid goes tumbling into a corner. So you have to pray to God that God helps you to nurture these kids in the right way, the right path, and you just see how it goes. There's no clear cut. There's no clear cut way of doing it. So a bit of patience, some prayers, and talking to them, and hope they understand you.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think, first of all, about the work, I like what Didi said about work-life balance. I mean, it's simple. You just have to find a way of dividing your time between these very, very important things. Work is so important. I mean, we can't overstate that. But also family, gets you going. I mean, having the right people there for...
System.
Absolutely. For me, it can even come into, creating a timetable. Monday to Friday is work. Of course, recently when I started school in the evening, I hate it when I go back home and the kids are asleep. I would love to see them to bed. But in my head, I've tried to make sure that Saturday mornings are for the children, before I run for an errand or here. So that, in the week, if I'm not able to be there to see them to bed or, say a thing or two with them, I mean, I create some time for them so that, it builds into something very, very good. And about disciplining a child, I think what's most important is we need to first build affection to these children, so that when you communicate to them, they understand what you're telling them.
It's from the heart.
And children don't lie. If they see affection from someone they give their time more to that person. Now, when you receive that affection from the child, whatever you communicate to them, they will be able to understand and do.
Interesting. Mr. Donald.
About work-life balance, if you want to know what's more important of the two, just think what happens when you probably like go on leave from work. Because you see, you can take leave from work, but you can't take leave from being a father or a husband. So I think what's more important is that as much as you're working for the family and the family is supporting you to work, you should be able to, yes, you should be able to know that the family, one, comes first, and anything that happens to you, even at work, if you get fired from work, you're coming home to your family. If your boss yells at you, you're coming home to your family. So as much as you have to work to support the family, you also need to put the family first, ahead of work.
The priority order has to be very, very
It should be family, then work. Although sometimes we mess it up.
The economy is hard, Donald.
Yes, exactly.
So we have to find our balance in this.
Get another job.
And you know when we were kids and your father would come home and sit in a corner and just listen to a radio, you'd think, he's absent, what? He doesn't talk to me, he's not my friend. But when you go home some of these days and you sit on your phone and your mind wanders, then you realize that man, what he was going through is what you're going through now.
The things they never tell you when you're growing up.
Exactly. And I really hope, I wish we had that manual, but still, there's no other way of coping with it.
Yeah.
Okay. As for punishing, I am a very huge believer in punishing, but also, yes, children, no, not beating. I punish in very many ways, because they get used, like David said, they get used to beating. A slap here, a slipper there, it gets boring. So sometimes it has to get physical, just make them do something they don't like. But also, I want to encourage parents to also reward. I mean, if you're going to beat a child for doing something bad,
if he does something
reward
good,
them when they do something good, so that you enforce good behavior, as opposed to trying so hard to make sure you're the police. Like you can't always be there to beat or to punish when they do wrong, and not there when they do right. If he does well in a homework or something, just reward them. Reward them. It can even just be a normal hug, a clap or something. That's good enough. Because even when you're punishing, you're yelling, you're screaming. It just do the good and the bad as well.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, for everyone that is watching, we wanted to understand the father's perspective to different elements. Now, how do you balance out work, life, at the same time managing that child discipline without going overboard? Remember, we are talking about family and accountability. We must stay accountable to our families as much as we want to do other things out of the ordinary. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching Candid Talk. Please subscribe and do come to Inyamad Gardens. Very nice environment, the wind, the breeze, it's everything that you want to be at when you want to have that cup of tea or that beer if you drink. See you. Bye.